What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A23. This is one of the latest budget devices from Samsung, and it launched in March of 2022. But let's start off by taking a look and seeing what comes included here in the box. Now included is some literature. We have a USB wall adapter right here. We have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer, and we have a SIM card removal tool. Now with this device, we have a very large 6.6-inch display, and the display features Corning Gorilla Glass 5, which makes it extra durable. Now the actual display type that we have here is a PLS LCD display. We have a resolution of 1080p, and this display is actually 90 Hz, which is really cool, so we are getting that faster refresh rate. Now the PPI that we have is 400. We have a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, which is pretty consistent with many of the other devices that Samsung has launched in the last couple of years. And we have an 83% screen to body ratio. So decently small bezels all throughout. However, the bottom bezel is slightly thicker than the others. And then up top here, we do have a water drop notch for the front facing camera. Now that front camera is 8 megapixels, and stay tuned for my full review video about this device, as I'll be showing you a variety of different image samples from all the various cameras on the phone. Now the Galaxy A23 is offered in two different storage configurations. You can get this phone in both 64 and 128 gigabytes. And in addition to that, the A23 does support microSD card expansion. So if you do want to offload photos and videos, for example, then you can definitely do that here with this phone. Now there is no wireless charging with the Samsung Galaxy A23. But we do have a fingerprint sensor that doubles as the power button. So we'll give that a try right now. So very fast and accurate. One more time. So definitely very quick there. And in addition to that, this phone also supports Face Unlock. So I do appreciate that we do have multiple methods for accessing the device. Now on the back of the phone, you'll see that we do have a quad camera setup. We have a 50 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at up to 123 degrees. We have a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images, and we have a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera to assist with portrait mode. And the A23 does support portrait mode for both the rear and front cameras, which is certainly really nice. Now here's how things look on the camera app on the device. This is with the main camera right now. Then from here, we can easily switch over to the ultra wide angle camera to fit a lot more content into the frame. So I'm a big fan of having an ultra-wide camera. Of course, it doesn't necessarily come in handy in every single situation, but it is especially useful if you're out traveling. Maybe there's a large building you want to take a picture of, for example, or maybe you're in a forest where you want to have a really immersive photo with all of your surroundings in it. That's definitely where the ultra-wide camera does come in handy. But then from here, we can then go over to the More tab, and from there we can access the macro camera. And then with the macro camera, we can get very close up here and have things be in really good, crisp, and clear detail. We can then back out of here and go over to portrait mode to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. And then we can flip around to the front-facing camera to do the same thing. So there's me right there. We can also take standard selfies as well, which is nice. And in addition to that, this phone does have the option for group selfies. So you can go here and crop out a bit so that you can easily fit additional people in a front-facing photo. So it is especially nice to see that despite the Galaxy A23 being a very low-end device from Samsung, we do have a variety of different cameras here. Now, of course, all these various cameras are not going to give us nearly as good of results as we'd be getting with higher-end Samsung phones, and even a device like the A53 5G, for example, will also take better photos and videos compared to the A23, but it is still cool that we do have all these various functions, even if they aren't necessarily the best of the best out there. And especially for features like having an ultra-wide camera, if you find yourself using that quite a bit here with the A23, then that can probably better justify you eventually spending more money on a more higher-end device in the future so that you can really double down on all those various features. But if you instead got a phone that didn't have those features at all, then you'd really never have a chance to actually know if those features really are relevant to you. Now, as you might have noticed already, and I think this is the biggest downside with the Galaxy A23, and that is that there is no 5G support. Now, I understand that in 2022, 4G LTE is still the most popular way to use data on your device, but at the same time, 5G is becoming more and more relevant as time goes on, and while I don't necessarily think not having 5G support on the device is a deal breaker, it certainly still is a good thing to have it, as it does better future-proof your device, especially considering that 5G is definitely the future. Now, the processor that we are getting here with the phone is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 680, and this device is offered in various levels of RAM. This particular model of the device features 4 gigabytes of RAM. So with that combination of 4 gigs of RAM and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 680, I've actually gotten pretty decent performance overall. Of course, it certainly helps that we do have that 90 Hz display, as it gives everything a much smoother and more premium feeling to it. But I also did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test, and I'm pretty happy with the results that I got from that test. You can see here I got a single core score of 351 and a multi-core score of 1645. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of how it compares. Now, it might turn out that if you have an older, more higher end Samsung phone, it might actually perform better than the A23. So that's certainly something worth considering. But I suppose if you are coming from an older A-series phone, maybe you have an A10 for example, or an A01, then I can definitely see the Galaxy A23 being a solid upgrade both for features and performance. Now, video recording with this device maxes out at 4K with the rear camera and 1080p with the front-facing camera, and we have a massive 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery with the phone. So you're definitely going to get a solid day, if not 2 days, of battery life with the Galaxy A23, so I'm really glad that we did get such a large battery included from Samsung. Now, as far as the software goes, the device does run Android 12, featuring Samsung's One UI 4.1, and what's especially awesome is that Samsung is now pledged to provide pretty much all of their A-series phones with at least 4 years of major software updates. So that's something that's pretty much unheard of from any other Android OEM. Of course, Apple is known to give their devices a variety of different iOS updates for an extended period of time. But as far as lower-end budget phones go, Samsung currently is the best brand when it comes to giving us updates for a very extended period of time. And another awesome feature that we have here is that we have NFC. Now, I'm not sure if every single Galaxy A23 in every region will feature NFC, but the one that I have does at least have that. And if you're not familiar, NFC is the technology that's used for mobile contactless payments, so you can do tap and pay with your phone. That's certainly something that I definitely like to use with any device that I use that actually supports that feature. So if you are currently using that with your current phone and you want to continue to use it with your next phone, then just know that you can do that here with the Galaxy A23. But now that we've gone over a variety of different things about the phone, let's take a closer look at the hardware. So taking a look at the left side of the device, we just have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then on the right side of the phone, we have volume up, volume down, and then also the power button, which is also the fingerprint sensor. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the device, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. And then on the back of the phone, we have the quad camera setup, flash, Samsung logo, and that's pretty much it. Now, this phone is made entirely out of plastic, besides the display, of course, which is glass, and everything on the back of the phone is glossy as well. Now, oftentimes I prefer not having a glossy back, but with the way that Samsung did it here, it actually looks really cool. And it actually also doesn't pick up too many fingerprints either, which is kind of a nice surprise to see. The back of this phone almost reminds me of the iPhone 5C from a long time ago, if you remember that device. Now, I can see this material potentially getting very scratched up as time goes on, just because it is a glossy plastic material here, but I suppose we'll have to see how that turns out. But this concludes my hands-on and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy A23. Definitely let me know what you think of this device in the comments section below, and if you do want to learn more about it, then take a look at the link in the video description. But if you liked the video, definitely give it a thumbs up, make sure to sub to the channel, but this is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.